Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WITV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey friends, imagine how you'd feel living your life doing work you love, with people you love, in places you love, and all the while creating something of real value to others. It's what I call a life of significance. And I can tell you it's very exciting. And so can today's guest star, Carrie Spear. Hey, Carrie, welcome to the Something Significant show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Hey, just tell our audience what you're doing these days to leave your mark of significance on the world.
Yeah, so my name is Carrie Spear. I live in the beautiful mountains of East Tennessee, have 2 daughters and 2 granddaughters, if you can believe that. I am a nutritionist trained in functional and integrative medicine. I'm also an epigenetic specialist where I look at nutrigenetics and nutrigenomics to help people develop a health blueprint so that they can build a lifestyle around that. I do life coaching, again, around mindset and lifestyle changes. I have a minor in herbology, but I do not have a green thumb, so I can't grow the stuff to save my life, but I can tell you about it. And I have other certifications in holistic practices. I believe the body has an innate intelligence, and if we give it what it needs with nutrition and sleep and exercise, hydration and fun, laughter and play and happy living, that it can do miraculous things.
Oh, yes. Way to go, Carrie. So now I'd like our audience to get to know you through the prism of our happy formula. Capacity plus purpose equals happy. So let's start with the first element of the formula. What are your personal practices for building your capacity, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, financial, emotional? In other words, what do you do to increase your capacity so you can take really good care of yourself and your loved ones and still have more left over to give to others?
Yeah, so most days I work on, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. I do that in my practice. I practice from the mind, body, spirit type realm. So I've had my share of health issues over the years, especially around gut health. So nutrition is really important to me. I have to eat a certain way or people don't want to be around me. So that's my main focus. Plus, that's what I love. That's why I went into nutrition. That's what took me to that practice. Sleep is also something that is very important to me. Through my epigenetics, I have what they call the APOE genetic 3-4 genes SNP. And what that means is I have a really high risk of Alzheimer's and cardiovascular disease. And everybody in my family has died of either one. For multiple generations. So Alzheimer's and cardiovascular is really important. And so, or that's something that people, have died from. So it's important for me to protect my sleep because sleep is when the brain takes out the trash. And so if I don't take out my trash nightly, I feel like I would have a higher risk of those happening. So sleep is important easily, and I sleep all night. It's never been an issue for me. I love spending time in nature. We get out on the lake very often. So we have a jet ski that we get to have some adrenaline rush with, jump some wakes, and then just, turn it off and just look at the vastness of the mountains around us. And that really helps to just relax and rebalance me. Exercise is another thing I use. They always call me the Energizer Bunny because I'm always going, but exercise actually helps me with that. If I don't do something daily, like even just going for a walk, my energy will crash. So those are the 3 things that I do for most days. Everybody, we're all human. We don't do it, every day like we should, but that's what I try to do.
Very good. Well, before we move on to purpose, let's talk about my favorite word, Kaizen. It's a Japanese term that means small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results. And as a personal practice, it means there's always something you can do better tomorrow than you did today. And that keeps you moving forward every single day. So Carrie, can you share how you apply the concept of Kaizen to work on a craft or a physical skill or a spiritual practice or any other capacity that you're wanting to improve?
Yeah, this is what I like to call the ripple effect with my clients is, that one little pebble, even though it's super small, by the time you look 5 minutes later, there's this huge ripple. So what I do for myself is I try to learn something new every day. Again, that helps me with brain cognitivity, and hopefully that I'll keep that for the rest of my life. But I go on daily walks and I always ask myself, what is this walk going to teach me? What is this walk going to see what still needs to be healed inside of me? What is this walk going to do for me so that I can give back to others and help them have better strategies to live a better lifestyle around diet, nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress reduction? So I'm always trying to learn something, and that's what my walk does for me.
That's great. Okay, so let's discuss the second element of the happy formula. In my second book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I explore the idea that major life transformations or discovery of purpose often come from devastation. Addictions, disease, death, disaster, some big crisis shakes a life. But I've used a happier way and discovered my purpose through inspiration. So Carrie, how about you? Was there a specific moment or event or crisis or inspiration that revealed to you the purpose you were meant to live?
Yes, absolutely. It was through devastation. I wish it was through inspiration, but I say I turned that devastation into inspiration, and that's why I'm here today. So in my 30s, I would tell my friends that I just feel like I became a brick wall. I had no emotion. Nothing would affect me. People would say, oh, my pet died. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. It was, and it was so against who I am. So, but it was years of, trauma in my childhood, and it had caught up with me. And I think the biggest catalyst to that was when I had my kids, I couldn't understand how people could be mean to kids. So that was, I think, the biggest reason why I put all this up against my heart. Like, I just didn't want to feel anymore because I didn't like what that felt like. So I love my kids and I could give anything to them, but I just had shut off everybody else in my life. And so one day, as God, universe, spirit, whatever you identify with, says, we're gonna make this brick house fall down. So actually started bleeding internally, and I didn't know it. So I passed out several times. So I was taken to the hospital. Doctors saw that my whole abdomen was filled with blood. And so they assumed it was an ovarian cyst that had ruptured. So they cut me from belly button down, and that wasn't what had happened. So another surgeon came in and cut me from belly button up. They took out everything looking for the source, and they couldn't find it. So they stapled me up, put me in ICU, and said, we'll probably have to go back in there when you decide to explode again. So you're here for a few days so we can watch you. That was a very traumatic experience of not knowing if I was going to live or die, because they told me that at any time it could happen again. And I had lost so much blood that I would have a harder time coming back from it. So, you have that life or death moment that people call on their hero's journey. Well, that was my life or death moment. So at that moment in time, the cycle of grief, the circle of grief that people experience, that's what I went through when I came back home. But crying, like, I had got to where I couldn't cry anymore.
How old were your kids?
They were 2 and 5.
Oh, so you had to be mom. You had to game
I had to
up.
be mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so I cried for weeks. I'm like, I don't know where this came from, but once the fountain turned on, it just kept going. And so through that experience, it made me realize that putting up that brick wall around my heart was not what, God, universe, spirit had for me, that I was meant to be a healer to others. And that set me on my journey of getting my degrees in nutrition and all the other facets, the certifications that I have, and how I could help others never go through that again, where, putting your heart in this brick wall around it, it's just not fun. And life was not enjoyable. I was not living a happy life. So once that happened and I realized that I was meant for, a bigger purpose, I would always say that, life is a series of choices that define you or redefine you. And that one did both. So it helped me to see who I was before, but now I was even a better version of myself that had the capacity to love others that I needed to.
Yay, Carrie. All right, so let's take a commercial break because I want to tell everybody about three things. An online course that helps people discover their purpose and then design their life around it, and also how they can save $100 on the enrollment. Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made for good people. That's why I love Happy Living's online e-course. It's an 8-week-long deep dive into you and the inspired life you want to live. The life you were put here on this earth to live. The one that you and only you can live. 8 weeks of lectures and ideas and topics and supporting materials and powerful self-improvement tools. All designed for you. All designed to help you create the tools and the power and the confidence you need to discover your purpose and to discover the life you were meant to live and to feel incredibly inspired and motivated to decide you will live your life to its fullest. It's all designed to help you create the unique and distinct philosophy of you and your inspired life. Go to happyliving.com, select our e-course, and save $100 with promo code WYTV7. And for every enrollment, I'll donate another $100 to WYTV7. For $300 and about 30 hours, I promise you'll never, ever be the same again. And we're back. And this is something significant. And I'm Matt Gersper. Hey friends, we created our e-course just for you to help you create the space you need to become self-inspired, to achieve your own greatness, and to leave your very own mark of significance on the world. 8 weeks from today, we could be celebrating a new you. But for now, let's get back to our guest star, Carrie Spear. And Carrie, I recently stumbled upon an article called The Science Behind the Power of Giving. Because I get goosebumps just thinking about this. It seems the act of giving itself can be a gateway to discovering your reason for being on this planet. That's right. There's compelling scientific data that supports the notion that giving one's time, talents, and treasures is a powerful pathway to finding purpose, transcending difficulties, and finding fulfillment and meaning in life. So I updated our formula. Capacity plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. So what do you think, Carrie? Has giving your time, talents, and treasures been a powerful pathway for you to discover your purpose and transcend difficulties in your life and bring fulfillment and meaning to your life?
Absolutely. Yes. One of the things I always say is I love to see people fall back in love with themselves again and what can make them thrive to bring them joy. So I love to see when people like women come to me and the doctors have said, well, there's nothing I can do for you, but here's an antidepressant, and they walk away left with no hope. Mm-hmm. And then they stumble and find me, and I give them tips and education and tools to get their health back. I mean, there's just no words for that. Or when a man comes to me and wants to regain energy and he's like, I've been exercising every day for 6 hours. That's over exaggerating, but that's what they feel like.
You lose your vitality.
And, I show them that exercising less, sleeping better, and finding a hobby to find themselves again. Yeah. And it brings back that young version of the vitality that they've been missing. I mean, it's just, words can't describe. Early on in my marriage, we lived in a small town where there was still a grocery store that you could buy on credit. And so we would go down there a couple of times a year And we would just say, who is the most in debt? And how long have they been in debt? And we would just pay it off. Back then it was like $100, or we would pay it down for them. So it was, the things I always tell my kids is doing good deeds secretively. So that way it cuts the ego out of it, but that you help somebody. And that's all that it's about, just having that help and doing good in the world. So yeah, giving back is an amazing part of what my purpose is.
And science proves it works. And I love this article. I'll send you a copy of it. But that's the science. And I've experienced that the real magic, though, the real magic of life comes from that fourth element of significance, doing work that creates value for others. The real magic of life comes not from getting more, but from what we're just talking about, giving more. But it's not just the giving that's magical. What I've learned is it's giving from living in your purpose. That's where the real magic is. So tell us, Carrie, how does giving to others from living in your purpose make you feel? In other words, how does it make you feel when a client writes, Carrie Spear is so much more than my nutritionist. She's been my teacher, my encourager, my therapist, and best of all, my friend.
Yeah. And I know who wrote that. So it's, brings tears to my eyes. Woo. See, once they get turned on, they don't stop. It's a feeling like you can never explain. Like that, I can't put words to it, because watching that lady and her transformation, she was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and she didn't want to go down the medicine path. So she came to me, and a year later, her antibodies was gone. Like the doctor even said, well, I don't think you had RA to begin with. But that's the power of, getting your nutrition right, cutting out all the things that aren't serving you, working with her mindset. She had a lot of trauma in her past, and letting go of that, releasing that trauma from her body. It's just mind blowing what you can do.
Yeah. And, you just mentioned cutting out what's not serving you. So much of the time when we're looking to improve ourselves, we try to do more. But a lot of times we just got to get rid of the stuff that's not helping us. It doesn't make us feel good. And that works even easier than bringing in new stuff.
Right. Yeah. Doing less. I mean, a lot of people want to exercise every day, and it's like, no, you have to give your body time to rest, and you have to bring in fun. So if you want to exercise every day, do some structured exercise, but once a day, go play. Just go on a jungle gym somewhere and slide down the slide or swing in the swings. Just tap into that kid energy and smile and just laugh and be playful.
I even came up with the notion lately that life is too short to do anything that makes you feel bad, even if it's good for you. Because there's all kinds of other things you can do that's good for you that you like.
Right.
So if you really hate doing something, even though it's really good for you, try to figure out some other way to get that goodness. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
So purpose and giving, we just talked about, makes this great big happy circle. Giving your time and your talents and your treasures is a powerful pathway to finding your purpose. And giving from living in your purpose brings profound joy to your life that made Carrie just cry. So giving leads to purpose, and giving from purpose leads to joy. How beautiful is that? And that's the great, big, amazing magic of the happy formula. Capacity plus purpose plus plus giving equals happy to the third power. And that's really, truly, deeply happy. And that explains why Carrie Spear is so damn happy. Isn't that right, Carrie?
Woo-hoo! Yes.
Okay, good. So let's wrap things up with a lightning round. I love to read some of my favorite quotes and ask you to respond as first thing that comes to your mind, so we can kind of peer into your brain and see how you think about things.
Okay.
The first one is from Shunryu Suzuki. And he says, you're perfect just as you are, and you could use a little improvement.
Yep. I tell women this a lot. They come to me for weight loss. They want to improve in somehow, but I always tell them, well, you're perfect just the way you are, but we can make these small improvements to make you happier with who you are.
Yeah, it's all about acceptance, right?
Yeah.
Another one, it wasn't on my list for today, but from Ayush Shanti, I think it is. He says, total acceptance of oneself brings about total transcendence of oneself.
Mm.
And I thought about that and I said, why don't we accept ourselves?
Yeah.
It should be such an easy thing for us to do, but it's not easy at all.
Right. No, it's not. And there's so many influences out there showing you why you shouldn't accept yourself.
Yeah. From Hemingway, it's good to have an end to journey toward, but it's the journey in the end that, I'm sorry. It's good to have an end to journey toward, but it's the journey that matters in the end.
Yeah. I mean, just like my journey, I was a very loving child. I built up that brick wall and it changed who I was. But when that fell down, my path to where I am now, I wouldn't take anything for it. There was a lot of scary times, a lot of moments that, you say, if I could go back in time, I would erase that. But, now with age and experience, I look and say, I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't walk that path and experience that.
Isn't it a shame we have to go through so much to become wise?
Yep.
Oh, goodness. This is one of my own. It's in the doing of things that are most important to you that you'll find your true happiness.
Mm. Yeah, because what you like to do, you migrate toward that. Like I love spending time with my girls. They are my life and they bring me, a joy that you just can't find outside of, your children.
Yeah, I'm learning more and more. We're all different. We all love to do different things. And as you mentioned, society kind of sometimes tells us what to do, or culture tries to put us in the box. But if you can really pursue what you love, that's how you'll really bring happiness into your life.
Right.
So glad we're talking about it. Last one from Goff. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
Yeah. Step out of the fear. Don't let fear dictate you or make you small. Stand up big and tall and do what you feel you need to do, because it's your life at the end of the day and you're responsible how you live it. So don't let people tell you no. Don't let people tell you you can't. And don't let fear restrict you. Go and do.
Way to go, Carrie. All right. So now, folks, if it's your turn, if you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Carrie Spear, please show some love to our wonderful broadcast host and donate what you can to WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. Carrie, I love that you work with women who feel unheard and unhealed by their doctors, and with men who've lost confidence and want their vitality back, and with overachievers that have let their health slip. And I love your enthusiasm for nutrition and epigenetics and coaching and health optimization and just for life in general, and for helping anyone seeking a healthy, happy life. I want to thank you for sharing your powerful voice on our show.
Thank you. I appreciate this. And let's go make people happier.
Fantastic. Would you like to take a minute or two and just share any parting remarks?
I just want to encourage people, again, step out of that fear, step out of what's keeping you small. And remember, it's the Kaizen. You don't have to quit your job today and move into that tomorrow, but start making steps toward what's bringing fulfillment and passion and purpose into your life. I stayed small for many years, so I don't want you to.
Okay, now you did just recently quit your job that wasn't fulfilling you.
I did.
Give our audience just a couple of minutes on that, on how fearful it was and how you're feeling, 2 or 3 months later now? 3 or 4 months later?
Yes. So I quit. Yep, I quit my job. That steady paycheck that we all like to come in every month. I quit that to find my purpose again, because the job that I was working was not fulfilling. They had shifted to where what I started working with them was for coaching, epigenetics, nutrition, and all that, and lots of promises to help more people. And then they changed their direction, and it was nothing like that anymore. So I hated every day going to a job where I felt like I was just showing up and being a robot doing the same thing over and over. So, a few months later, I have had so many opportunities. One today that I have been waiting for, a lady that's in the epigenetic space that I have always looked to with the greatest respect, reached out to me today and wants me to work with her. So when you project things out into the universe, good things come back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Carrie. And I also want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guests like Carrie and reaching folks like you out there ready to create your own extraordinary lives. A special thank you to our sponsors, The Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life and Happy Living. Remember, I'll donate $100 for every enrollment using promo code WITV7. So tell all your friends too. Just go to happyliving.com, select our e-course, and enroll together as a group. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to websites and social media and all things Carrie Spear. Find her, friend her, schedule a free 20-minute telephone consultation on her website, nutritionepigenetics.com. That's all one word, nutritionepigenetics.com. And from me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be happy. I want you to live your life to its fullest, to believe as I do that a better self is always possible today and every day for the rest of our lives. I hope you're feeling motivated and super confident and really bold too, and ready to take action, to start moving along your path, the one that's waiting just for you, because that's where you're going to make your mark of significance on the world. And the world needs you to do it. So begin it today. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome. And this is the Something Significant Show. And we're out.